KC24, your local election headquarters. Voters in Tulare are going to have a new measure on their ballot this midterm. It's called Measure Y. It's a business tax on cannabis. Now, if voters pass it, the money generated from the tax will be used to fight homelessness. Our Catherine Phillips with more on why city leaders are pushing for the measure.
The city of Tulare says without a homeless shelter in the city, there's not a lot they can do towards addressing homelessness. They say if Measure Y passed, they'd be able to use some of that money to fund the shelter. During an informational meeting at the Galaxy Theaters in Tulare, city staff went over what local issues voters will weigh in on during the November election, including Ballot Measure Y.
It's only a tax on the consumption of cannabis. So those who would purchase cannabis will have to pay a tax for that consumption.
City Manager Mark Mondell says Measure Y, or the Cannabis Business Tax Ordinance, won't exceed a tax of $10 per canopy square foot for cultivation, or 10% of all the money a business selling cannabis makes. He says if it passes, the money from Measure Y would in part go towards building a homeless shelter in Tulare.
Decision that was made in the court systems back in 2018 that said if you are a community that has homeless individuals, you cannot restrict them from camping in your parks or public spaces unless you have an equal number of beds available to them. So that really drives the reason why we have to have a shelter.
Mondell says they need to have at least 200 beds in the shelter, and they're looking at building it off of Bardsley Avenue in an industrial area far from any neighborhoods. He says if the measure doesn't pass, the city will still want to move forward with the shelter, but they would have to dig deeper into the general fund, leaving them with less money for other projects.
If the Measure Y doesn't pass, then the current revenue we receive through the development agreements with the cannabis dispensaries, that revenue will still come in. Unfortunately, those development agreements are not equitable. One cannabis dispensary pays 2% of gross proceeds and the other two pay 5%. So part of the reason also for Measure Y is to make sure it's equal among all three dispensaries.
We did reach out to the 3 cannabis dispensaries in Tulare. None of them were able to talk to us tonight about this issue. Reporting in Tulare, Catherine Phillips, KC24, local news that matters.